used to run around, beat myself to the ground. I thought this was the way to be. I thought that true success was having so much stress, till I heard a voice calling to me, saying, let it be easy. Let it be easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice. Let it be easy. Now that I see the light, I won't work all day and night. I vow to take good care of me. I don't need to run a race. Well, I'm choosing ease and grace, enjoying the ride effortlessly. Gonna let it be easy every day now, easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice. Let it be easy.
So tonight we are here to answer 3 questions about Coaching Clear. What is it? How does it work? And why should you care? Because everybody here has a full life, and you need a good why if you're going to spend any more time away from whatever you really love in your family. So we're going to talk about what it is, how it works, and why you should care. So this Coaching Clear concept is powerful, but it's not new. It's just one facet of caring for the whole of ourselves. You know, healing practices were created 5,000 years ago in India. It turned into Ayurvedic medicine, right? And China created another around 2200 BC. That's where we got acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And indigenous peoples around the world all have some kind of healing practice addressed to healing the whole person. So it's no secret that our health is a direct expression of our mental, emotional, and environmental attitudes. What I love about this is mental in your mind, right? Emotional in your heart, and environmental. Where are you immersed for most of your time? Is it Netflix? Is it BYU stuff? Is it a work environment or a home environment? But it's influenced by what we focus on, what we ingest, our home and our work environments, our stress levels, and our relationships. And so that's one of the things we work on in a Coaching Clear session. We're looking at all of those areas. They're for the whole of you. And you'll find multiple benefits on multiple levels because of that. Okay, just saying, I'm done reading now. We're going to take turns. That's the end of the talking head. Okay. So again, this is powerful, but it's not new. Okay. Got some more ideas going on here. Penny, you want to read?
Sure. Coaching Clear accesses the mental, physical, and social factors that affect you in your life rather than individual symptoms of a disease, recognizing that your body is not a machine, but a reflection of your overall state.
So this is about the whole of you again. Charlotte, you want to read the next one?
As a group, we work together to align all aspects of our being and create our best selves. This includes living up to our potential in all areas of our life: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Thank you. It's true, as a group, and we kind of hold each other accountable too, which is really fun. So you have some accountability to Coach Clear. Because all healing is self-healing. Your body is designed to heal itself. And your healing path is personal, with a unique purpose just for you. It's as unique as you guys are. Each of us have our own self-healing path. And so that's another aspect. When you come to a Coaching Clear session, you bring what you need. And each of us brings what we need. And then collectively as a group, we help one another. Coaching Clear is life by design. It's a place where you come to consciously create your own life. So we believe in a Coaching Clear session that you're the creator of your life experience. You're the one that's in charge of what you want to do and what you want to say, and your happiness level and your thoughts. You are the creator of your life experience. So let's talk just a little bit. Carolyn, you've been with us for Coaching Clear, and Jen and Jason, we've all been together. I'm going to click all of these bullets. You overcome challenges, you find support, you build friendships, you learn to self-coach, and you clear old emotional baggage and beliefs so that you can create the life you want. Have you had experiences in any of those areas where you have found support or built friendships or overcome challenges? Any of these things in a Coaching Clear session that you would want to share?
I think the thing that comes to my mind the most is that clear old emotional baggage out of my life, because too often I didn't even realize that I had it and I was carrying it around. But as you're in a session with other people and who are all there to help each other become well, right? You discover things that you didn't know were there, that once you can name it and you can identify it, you're able to actually address it and then reframe it and get it out, clear it out. And it's so incredible to be able to do that as a group.
I like the support that you feel from the group, because we're all there to be better. And so we're all coming with something that we want to change in our life. And it just is so just almost like a synergy, because we're all just like wanting the same thing, but wanting it for each other too. So I like the support that I've always felt in those groups.
Yeah, me too. I know when I come, well, because I'm helping with the Coaching Clear, but I always go away with a smile on my face because I feel the camaraderie of the group and I feel that energy of being together. I just feel so much better with whatever I came in with. And believe me, I come in grumpy often. So it's nice. It's nice to lead knowing that I feel that support and I come together.
I agree with all of you. It's like you, I always come away, I feel better, I feel lighter, feel more hopeful. And just over time, I feel like, I don't know, there's other things that I'm sure are helping, but I'm just finding I'm just happier more, just a little more optimistic more. And I love the spirituality of the group, the strength of the spirit. It's there. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And one of the things I loved is at the end, Beth always tells us, okay, get your notebooks out and start writing. And it's helped me to realize how to, another way of receiving revelation, just be ready to write and just start writing, and it just happens.
It's wild. Yeah. When you start writing, it comes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about for a few minutes why it works. I mean, Carolyn's really touched on faith, and we're going to talk about faith for a while. But before we get there, we're going to talk about this power of action in all things. One of the things that comes up with this power of action is Newton's third law. Anybody know Newton's third law? And if you don't, it's totally cool because I had to Google it. I only knew the phrase, but I didn't know that it was Newton's third law. Okay, so the law is to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, right? Sounds familiar, right? I knew that. But when you come to a Coaching Clear session, you're taking action in your life. And there is an equal reaction or an equal gift that comes back to you. And there's that power of action of making a choice and coming that is really powerful. And then, like Carolyn touched on, there's the power of women just collectively being together. As women, we are nurturers. We are talkers. I learned today that women speak an average of 20,000 words a day and men speak 7. So Coaching Clear is a place to come talk, right? We get some of that out as well. 20,000 to 7 is pretty great. But there is a power, a collective power of women in the group. Tim, you can talk if you want. We really will listen. I keep seeing him poke his head in and out with Carolyn.
He says no, he's got a headache. He just wants to lie low.
All right, you lie low, that's fine. Along with that power of women, there is a power of gathering. And I want you guys to kind of think about this. When you're alone at home on your couch, Charlotte, I know it's a dream. When you're alone at home on your couch, imagine or think how it feels in your body and how it feels in your heart and your mind. Probably like nirvana, heaven. But then think when your family is all gathered around a table together, what does that feel like in your heart and your head and your body? It's a little different, right? Then growing that, when you're in a congregation of people, say 200-300 people, what does that, just call up that memory. What does that feel like in your heart and your head and your body? And then think of the last time you were in a convention center of people, 20,000, big group. That feeling of the energy that comes with that power of gathering. Can you feel that, how that's different, but how it intensifies? There's this power of gathering. That's one of the reasons that Coaching Clear works so well, because there is power in gathering. I know you guys have felt it in multiple situations. Then there's the power of a growth mindset. You're coming into a group of women who all want to grow. A lot of us want to whine, and that's okay. That's part of this Power of Women part where we can talk. But there's this growth mindset that when you come in and you check in weekly, you've got other people like-minded, also striving, also struggling, also growing, and having their setbacks and their successes. So when you're coming, and there's energy in all of these things, action, women, gathering, growth mindset. Then there's the power of faith, which is what Carolyn brought up. And we'll talk about that a little bit. And then there's this really cool story I want to share with you about the 100th monkey. And I know it sounds crazy and vibration, but before we talk about the 100th monkey, let's just talk about some basic principles. First of all, we know everything is connected, right? Everything, everywhere. We're just one great big unit on the earth. We're connected. Everyone has a choice. Basic principle. Let me know if I get to one you don't agree with, okay? Each of us is different by design, by divine design. We were talking today in leadership. Jen's hair is black. Jacine's hair is blonde. My hair is red by choice. It takes 2 hours every month, but it's red by choice. We are different by design, by divine design. On purpose, right? It's the way we're supposed to be. We are not machines. So we can't be treated like machines, and we can't expect to heal like machines. Another basic principle, unresolved emotional pain can lodge in our bodies and create discomfort of one kind or another. Maybe it's a tightness in your chest. Maybe it's a stiff neck. That's one that I get. If I get in a fight with somebody, a lot of times I'll get a stiff neck afterwards because it's a defensive posture for me. But unresolved emotional pain can lodge in our bodies and create discomfort of one kind or another. And again, each healing path is unique. There's not a one-size-fits-all answer. And that's why we benefit from a support group. You've got a group of like-minded, but very different by design individuals who work collectively to support one another and to benefit in a growth mindset. Now, want to hear the story of the 100th monkey? Oh, come on, you know you do. It's so cool. Jacine's going to tell it because she's the best storyteller, but it's based on the work of Rupert Sheldrake. And his principle was things of the same form tend to resonate. And I know that you guys have felt this when we've come into other meetings where we're people, we have a similar belief or we have a similar goal. We're of the same form and we tend to resonate one with another. Or singing together, we tend to resonate one with another. So, Jacine, tell us about the monkeys, the 100 monkeys.
Yeah, it's so fun. It actually in the 1950s, this phenomenon occurred in a northern Japanese island, and a group of behavioral scientists actually got together. And they noticed that there was this group of monkeys that washed their potatoes, which is so weird. You're looking at monkeys washing potatoes, and then they had other monkeys that didn't wash their potatoes. But as they observed these monkeys, it seemed like little by little, that habit started to spread across the island. And it was interesting. It wasn't on any of the other islands that they were observing. And as they started keeping count of these, they got to a point where there were 100 monkeys on this island that were all washing their potatoes. And they, probably figured that, oh, they just taste better when we wash them. Of course they do, right? So you got these monkeys washing potatoes. So what? Big deal, right? But pretty soon after it hit that 100th mark, all of a sudden, in a whole different island, there was another group, and it was a whole group that started all at once washing their potatoes. And so it wasn't just one by one, it was all of a sudden this group just started washing their potatoes, and it spread from island to island, which was really interesting. So they called it like morphogenic field. So really what that means is a morphogenic field, and they use it often when they're talking about our cells and how they're forming, especially in an embryo and a fetus, where it's this group of cells that get together and it forms our arm. Or there's another group of cells, a morphogenic group or vibration that gets together, and they collect together to create our heart and our different organs and our different limbs. And it's just this phenomenon that these certain cells band together and create this. And it's through vibrations that this happens, which is certainly interesting. And so as they studied the monkeys, they looked at this, and it was those same vibrations that were causing those monkeys to all at once just start doing the same thing, because those cells and that vibration just clung together to create this phenomenon, which I just found was so cool. And, it blows your mind. But Beth, you have some other things to talk about with that, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I think Jen's going to talk next, and then we're going to just talk about it in general.
Yeah.
But just the neatest idea, the way the cells can form something specific, the way the vibrations of primates can form something specific, and then just kind of begin to consider the way the vibrations among us can form something specific. Jen, what were you going to talk about?
Okay, so kind of on that line, what else could be forming from these vibrations? So we saw with the monkeys that their action actually did something. It created the vibration within the one group, one by one, but then also just at once in a larger group in a whole totally different area, it created that vibration. Well, our words can do the exact same thing. This is kind of crazy. You might have to wrap your brain around it. I had to study this and read it a few times to kind of understand it myself. But so words individually, if you think of like a hologram, does anybody here know how a hologram is made?
Mm-mm.
It's by layers, and it's by individual things that then create the whole. Okay,
Well, it's kind of like the idea of a 3D printer where they're just layering on top of each other until the whole thing is complete.
Yeah, but every little one has like you almost can't, it would be incomplete if the one was missing. So it brings information, it brings that vibration with it. So every single word. So there's a professor at Yale, his name is Gary Schwartz. He wanted to test out Sheldrake's theory. Kind of like, is this, just wanted to figure out where it would go, if it would go in this direction. So what he did is he got together a group of students. And before he got the students together, he took a set of Hebrew words on cards and a set of made up words on another card. Okay. And he shuffled them all up, mixed them together, and then presented them to the students one by one and asked them, none of these students knew Hebrew. And he did not tell them that there was made up words in there. And he was asking, he would show the cards and ask the students to tell them what they meant. And just intuitively, these students statistically performed better at the Hebrew real words and their meanings than with the ones that didn't have any meaning at all. So wrap your brain around that one. The words themselves had vibration and meaning. I was like, oh, So that he confirmed Sheldrake's theory, but in using it with words instead of actions. And there's another individual we're going to talk about that has some more information about like the energy of stuff, and is Masaru. Is that how I say it? Masaru Emoto?
Masaru Emoto.
I want to make sure I'm saying his name correctly. He describes like this phenomenon kind of as the word soul. And he believes that this word soul is the vibrational information that we feel and read and tune into. So
the words.
Keep that kind of the word soul. So kind of keep that in your mind.
Word soul. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And when we're thinking a thought or we're speaking a word, we're giving it energy. You can begin to see how the thoughts that you're thinking are changing your body chemistry, or the thoughts that you speak, the vibrations of those words and the patterns of those words change your environment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to say some more? I feel like maybe
I didn't know if you were going to talk about that experiment or experience what Dr. Brad did with us with the.
Oh, will you share it? I'd forgotten about that.
Okay, so it goes along the way that our thoughts. So we didn't say words. Our thoughts have energy and can influence. So what he did is he took somebody up on the stage. And gosh, how many people were in the audience? Like hundreds.
Oh, there were like 400 people. And he took this person on the stage and put their back towards the audience so they couldn't see anything.
Yeah. And then he had told us before, like before the person couldn't see. So the back. And so he kind of distinguished, and I can't remember what his signs were, but that
it was thumbs up and thumbs down.
A thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down. So if you put a thumb up, you were to direct just the happiest, most loving thoughts towards this individual. And it could be pictures or it could just be words. And if you put his thumb down, you're supposed to just hate, even like war, just all this negative towards the person. And what he was showing was that the one that I went to, he had the guy's arm out and was showing about how when we test for muscle testing, we can show, if it's nice and solid, it's a positive, it's truth.
It's strong.
It's strong. If it goes weak, it's negative, it's untruth. And it showed that just as we were like projecting the negativity towards the individual, he couldn't keep his arm up with the pressure that Dr. Brad was putting on, which wasn't a lot. He
had no idea what we were thinking about him.
Yeah, and he had no idea what was going on. No, he just all of a sudden he's like, I can't keep my arm up. And then like when we would do the loving thoughts, it was like really strong. And he's like, oh, that feels good. And he did it a few times to show. And it was just fascinating. Just by this group of 400-some people thinking the thought towards the individual, how it would affect the individual's like integrity, their energy. Yeah. It was fascinating.
It's really cool. And you take that back to the idea of supporting each other in a group and the power that can come to us as a group, as a whole. Yeah, it is really cool. Okay, here's another one about vibration. This is one of my very favorite things. You guys can try it in your church building because most of us have a grand piano at the front of the church building and a primary piano at the back of the overflow, right? This is a really cool experiment, and you can show it to kids and they'll just grasp it right away. If what we're going to talk about is how the piano strings, the vibration of piano strings resonate along that same idea of Rupert Sheldrake's theory about how things of the same form tend to resonate with each other. So if somebody's in the back of the gym and they're watching the strings, somehow you can watch the front, of the piano and actually see the strings. On my piano, the front comes off. And so watch the strings. And then the person in the front at the grand piano strikes one of the keys nice and firm. So like you get a good solid middle C sound. Watching the strings in the back of the gym or the back of the overflow, you will see the middle C vibrate. Because they resonate. When you sing with a group, you feel that resonation among the members of the group. They've found actually that people who sing together for long enough, for an hour or so, their heartbeats synchronize because they resonate. There's just a lot of power in a group. Okay. That's one of the reasons we use Coach and Clear and why it's so effective. Then there's the idea of water. Our physical bodies, depending on our age, are somewhere between 50 and 80% water, right? Now, we've talked about how thoughts and words can resonate within us and create vibrations. Water also has a memory. And it also, because our physical body is largely made of water, has a big effect on us. So going back to people, thoughts, words, kind of hold this all in your head. People, thoughts, words, water, the memory of water in our physical body. Okay. Jen or JC, one of you just go ahead and jump in because we're going to talk about Masaru Emoto's work. Yeah.
I love Masamoto's work. So he took words with water, and then under a microscope, he presented these words to the water and watched it form into crystals. And so this is a picture of what love looks like. So when they presented the word love, the crystals came together. Remember that it's that field of energy that pulls together and creates love. So this is what water looks like with love.
Yeah, they did it. Sometimes they did it with school children, where they had school children think specific thoughts towards the water. And they did a lot of experiments at the schools to help the kids learn. They also would do it with words on paper, where they would, and I still can't wrap my head around that, but they would write the word on paper and tape it to the jar. And then they would take the droplet out and flash freeze it and photograph it. They only had about 3 seconds before the crystal would begin to melt. So they had to do it all really, really fast, but they got really good at it. So this is the word love. And then these are some of the other words that they used. You can see compassion, thank you, wisdom, and then there's love on the end. But then on the negative side, you can see the heavy metal music, which made me really sad because I love ZZ Top. And I will kill you, and you fool. And then this bottom one was water before a Buddhist prayer. And then that top one that looks just like love is after. The power, and think about that, the power of prayer on your body, which is 50 to 80% water, and how that changes your body. So this is just, he says, crystals emerge for only 20 to 30 seconds as the temperature rises and the ice starts to melt. This short window of time gives us a glimpse into a world that is indeed magical. This book is well worth the read, y'all. It's Masaru Emoto's Hidden Messages in Water. At the end of his work, at this period of time, they had a water source in the mountains that had become corrupt, and the community banded together and worked and healed the water which was just a really big deal for all of them. It was a cool experience. So he has 2 or 3 books out, but this one's just especially good. The Hidden Messages of Water. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about energy and vibration. I know you're going to recognize this stuff. Have you ever been around somebody who you just feel better sitting by? Or that you walked into it and ran into in the store and you just felt better? They didn't even say anything. You just felt better. Something to think about. Or this one. Have you ever walked into a room after 2 people have had a heated argument and there's no sound, there's no expressions, but at least for me, the energy in the room feels steely and icy and repulsive. I don't want to be around it. I can remember coming home from school one day to the kitchen. My mom and dad were standing in the kitchen. Nothing had been said, but walking in the back door and just thinking, oh, I don't want to be here. I'm going upstairs. Because you could feel the energy that was there from whatever words were said or whatever was going on.
I think the word that comes to my mind for that is, sometimes it is just like this ick feeling, but sometimes it's just like, oh, awkward, you know? Yeah. It's like, for me, that's more times than not. It's just like, okay, this is really awkward.
Yeah. Or the times when you have like somebody walks into the room, or you meet somebody, or you're by somebody and you're like, oh, that guy just gave me the creeps.
That gives me the creeps.
Yeah. There's a reason. I mean, like you're picking up on something. Yeah.
You can feel it. Mm-hmm. And especially like you were talking about, Jen, you're close to them in your personal space. You guys know what it feels like when somebody comes up and instead of standing 6 feet from you, stands about 2.5 or 3 feet from you. You're like, personal space. That's because our body, which is largely salt water, has this circuitry that largely runs on electricity, right? And we have this field that our body promotes all around itself because we're always going. And it's about 8 feet, which is a really comfortable distance to talk to somebody, maybe 6 feet. But closer than that, you can feel a difference. And that's what that personal space is. And then there's a couple quotes. Somebody want to read Nikola Tesla? That was Compliments of Troy. He wanted this one in here.
I'll read it.
Sorry. Okay.
If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
It's his favorite. How about this one? Penny, you want to read this one?
Einstein said, all matter is energy.
Yeah. Okay. So other things that happen through energy, you'll recognize some of these. Electric light, telephone, computers, and the mysterious internet, cell phones and Wi-Fi, airplanes and space travel. We have developed all these things as dumb humans. What more has our creator done that we have yet to understand? We're only beginning to understand what happens with energy, like the power in words and the power in our thoughts. We're just tapping into it. We can't say we really understand it, but we can recognize it.
That's something that just came to my mind as you were talking about this. And we had kind of talked about in our leadership meeting, just touched on, or I guess it was in our podcast earlier. We had talked about nature. Jen was talking about nature and how it works. And I was thinking about in Aspen, Colorado, when I was young, we went to Aspen, Colorado, and we experienced the aspen trees. And I remember being an 8 or a 9-year-old child and standing like amongst these aspen trees and just feeling this. I couldn't explain it. I just was like, Dad, I love this. It just feels so good here. I couldn't stop saying, it just feels so good here. And later on in life, I was introduced to the energy that the aspen trees have as they connect together, because they are all connected and they're just like one huge being all these trees have connected together and just have created this field of, you can call it energy, or you can call it vibration, or you can just call it, to me, it was love. It was love and connection.
Love.
That's what I felt as a child, as a 9-year-old child, not knowing anything. But it was so cool, magical.
The aspens, the ones that interweave all of their roots into just being one living unit.
Yep.
Yeah.
They think that it's one of the largest organized organisms because of that connectedness. It's not a separate entity. It's one big organism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's fascinating. I love that.
And it's incredible to experience, y'all.
Well, the fact that you felt it as a young child, I love that.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'll have to talk to my mom and say, did you feel that, Mom? Or did you think I was just weird? I don't know. What is with my daughter?
I don't know. Thank you. That is really cool. Okay. So now you know how it works, but why? Why does it even matter? I mean, why can't we just keep moving forward just the way we've always been moving forward? So we have this wonderful quote from Albert Szent-Györgyi. He's an MD. He's a Nobel Prize winner. He's the one that discovered vitamin C. We all love vitamin C, right? Give me my emergency and my airborne and all of that stuff. But he, in his research, said treating humans without the concept of energy is like treating dead matter. Now, y'all, we are not dead matter because we are energetic beings. Absolutely. Then Professor Murray Gell-Mann, much easier name to say, also Nobel Prize winning physicist, said body chemistry is governed by quantum cellular fields. And then Dr. Bradley Nelson says the future of medicine will be controlling energy frequencies in the body. Now, Dr. Nelson has a really great way of teaching about quantum cellular fields that really helped me understand this. He says, if you were to take your hand and put it under a microscope, you would, at the next, whatever the next level of magnification is, see outlines of cells, right? I mean, we all did that in 5th grade science. We saw the cells with the nucleus and the mitochondria. You would see outlines of cells. But if you increased the magnification, you would see, Jen, help me out here. You're so good at this. What would you see next?
After the cell, you would probably see the nucleus of each cell. Like you'd go into the cell.
Inside what's inside the nucleus?
Mitochondria, other protons, electrons. Is that right?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And then he said, if you magnify it even more than that, you would see the atoms within that nucleus, right? And then if you magnify it beyond that, which is the subatomic magnification, you would see that in between those atoms, there's just all kinds of parts of the atom. There's all kinds of space. And the way he related it to us was if there was a neutron at one end of a football field, you would travel the entire length of the football field before you got to another part of that atom. That it's all space in the middle. It's all the energy of the atom that's in there. And that's what a quantum cellular field is. It's subatomic parts of the cell, and it's a field, which is huge. If you get on, you could go forever on Google learning about quantum cellular fields. It's amazing. So how does this apply? Jen, will you read?
Sure. When we clear in a group setting, we find that the energy is amplified by the faith of the people who are there. It's beautiful to sit together and, through our Creator, release any imbalances that may have been weighing our family or us down.
It really is. We've all of us that have been there. It's really beautiful. Our collective faith makes a huge difference, and everyone in the group benefits. Faith, we know, is the principle of action. We talked about Newton's third law in all things. Just kind of get this wrapped around in your head. Faith is the principle of action, all things. So you're going to love these. Okay, ladies, let's get some questions going. Nitty gritty. I'll give you a couple and then you tell me, how do you show your faith? I walked in this morning and I actually didn't turn the kitchen light on. I actually turned my teapot on before I turned the kitchen light on. But that was an act of faith on my part because I believed, I had faith that flipping the switch would make hot water for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
How have you showed your faith today in the nitty gritty?
When I went to buy groceries, my debit card would work.
Yes, you had faith that your debit card would work. I love that.
I mean, well, it had money in it, but sometimes it just like, the chip reader won't read it or whatever.
Or there's a problem with the machine.
Connections, it's like, it's got to work. 'Cause that's all I got.
Yeah. I didn't bring any cash. I don't have a check with me. This has got to work.
When I drove to when I went grocery shopping, that other cars would follow the rules, that I wouldn't get in a wreck.
Yeah, that you wouldn't get in a wreck because people around you would follow the traffic laws. When I went to the store, I believed they would have toilet paper. And they did. Yep. How about when I got in the car to go to the store and I turned the key on the car's ignition? Now, you guys remember when we were really young marrieds and we drove the clunkers, it took a lot of faith to turn the key in the car's ignition.
It took a lot of faith to do anything back then.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just had to get out and kick it before it would
Nope.
start. I mean, it was
Bang
awesome.
the steering wheel. My favorite is jiggle the gear shift. Bang the gear shift around and then it'll work. Yep.
Oh man.
How about putting on makeup? That is an act of faith for me. Is that an act of faith for anybody else? Because I truly believe that my green tinted foundation will make my skin look good. Do you see act of faith? Okay. Showing up here. How was this an act of faith?
Well, that the Zoom would work, that we could see everybody, we could hear everybody, we could see this presentation.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many layers of faith, right? That it was a good use of our time, that we would, I mean, some of us have had the experience before, so we had that act of faith. We already knew what would happen in the past, but people who haven't come before, it makes a difference, right? You really have to show up and have some faith. How about this one? When you bought your first house,
Woo.
what was your faith? What was it? Faith in what?
That we can make the payments.
Yeah, that was mine. Faith
Yeah.
in the future, that we would have income to make the payments. So you see, but how do you show your faith that the world will be here and the world will be good tomorrow? What are you doing right now to show that faith?
You make plans.
Good.
Make plans for tomorrow.
Yeah. Make plans, move forward, study.
or maybe just go by positive, your positive things that have happened in the past is your hope,
Yes.
what's going to happen next or whatever.
Yeah.
Even though, sometimes the world doesn't look very good, but just all the craziness, but
but you've got the hope from the past that you can apply to have faith in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, Penny. Okay. So then here's the last question. Why should you care? I mean, what's the point? Well, you're here, and that tells me a whole lot about you, right? Why do you think you should care? I can tell you a little bit what I know about all of you. I know that you are all women of faith, and Tim. And I know that you exercised your faith in the steps that it took to come tonight. You might have had to set up childcare. You might have had to leave work early. You might have had to leave the dinner dishes to tomorrow, which is fine by me, but everybody had to take some action. You might have had to learn Zoom sometime back so that you knew you could do this meeting tonight. And that says a lot. You believe in change and you believe in a better future. And that's a big deal. You're in the right place. These are some things I believe you believe. I've seen things be better. Mm-hmm. Don't you agree, Penny? I've seen things be better. Mm-hmm. I know that things can be better. I am seeking to be better. I am craving a better life. more peace, more patience, more hope, more kindness. I just crave it. More energy, more quiet, more clarity. This was me, and it is me still. And I would guess that it is all of us here as well. So the creator-based life is an entirely different way of being creatively alive. It's an entirely different way of being creatively healthy and happy as well. As you've seen, we're looking at the whole person. So we have 5 principles in creator-based life. The first one is, you've already seen, is you are the creator of your life. Penny, you know these because we've done these in Mastermind. You have within you light and truth, all the power you need to grow and progress.
Can I say the next one? It's my favorite.
Yes, it's my favorite too. You can have your turn.
I've been dying. Yes. Okay. The third one is, we are different by design. I love that one. And different is good. It's not bad.
Different is so good. Yes. I just find that so powerful. All right. Somebody else can do 4.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Happiness is most likely to be achieved through the principles of faith, compassion, mindfulness, and hope.
Yes. And we work on these 4 principles consistently as we work through Coaching Clear, through Mastermind, through all of our things. There's always a connection back to faith, compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And then this one's my favorite, because when we were raising family, Troy used to say, the only constant is change all the time. Because one day the kids would want peanut butter sandwiches, the next day you'd make peanut butter sandwiches, and they want bologna. The only constant is change. But what we learned was, change is a gift. If it's great now, and you know that change is a gift, you're going to appreciate now more. And if it's terrible now, and you know that change is a gift, you know that good things are coming. Change is a gift. That's our 5th principle. These are the principles of a Coaching Clear session. It's the same no matter what you're doing with creator-based coaching or a creator-based life. These are the 5 basic principles that everything runs on. So this is how the model works. We follow coach, clear, and create. It's a very basic model. We start with coaching. We do, sometimes it's 20 minutes of each. Sometimes it's just sequential order. But we always do coach, clear, and create. In the coach model, we have a weekly topic and instruction. Now, I can't say we always have a weekly topic and instruction, because sometimes we all get together and we kind of create the topic and instruction by what we're talking about. But we're always talking together and coaching one another and working together in this section. We answer questions, we bring questions. We learn new tools, we settle in, and we always have prayer. Very much like we started tonight, we'll begin with prayer and invite the help of our Creator. After we've gone through this, everybody brings their questions, the things that they want to work on as well. Things that maybe they're struggling with, or goals that they have, something that they would like to see happen in their life, but don't really feel like that it could. All of these things we work on just a little bit every week, so that the goals that you're creating for yourself have nourishment and get the blocks out of the way. I'm having a hard time seeing everybody with this. Let me just move a bit. Okay, so we're going to talk for a while about how we clear in a Coach Clear session. Awareness is the key. It's your creator power, the power of your thoughts. And remember, we prayed, so it's also going to be your intuition, your connection with your Creator. Let's go through some terms that you might hear in our session. Emotions to release. Jen, you want to talk about emotions to release?
The best way that I explain this to my clients is, because we all understand what emotional baggage is. It's what we're carrying around. It's what we can't, or we haven't just let go of. For some reason, we just keep them in. And so we learn how to release those emotions that have not processed out of our body. And that's an interesting thing, because emotions, they're a chemical reaction in our body, and they should only last anywhere from 90 seconds to 120 seconds, and then they're gone. They're chemically gone out of our body. Granted, that's one emotion. You can have many emotions at the same time. But for some reason, energetically, they get kind of stuck. And that's what we call the emotional baggage. And so there are going to be emotions that we'll identify and so that we can release them. They're still stuck in us.
Yeah. Then there are inherited emotions. And this was really hard for me to get my head around. The idea that you could inherit emotions from your parents or from your grandparents. But then I read this, I did the training with Dr. Brad, but then I read this study that they did with mice, where they had a group of mice that they would introduce the scent of almond to. The goal with the study was to find out why Holocaust survivors' children and grandchildren were having trouble. Was it something that was learned as it was passed down? But PTSD was much higher in the children of the Holocaust and the grandchildren of the Holocaust. It seemed to be a continuing thing. So they did this to find out a little more about it. And with the mice, they gave them the scent of almond and then the shock. So all over a period of time, they associated the scent of almond with shock. And of course, they were terrified of the scent of almond because it meant something terrible was going to happen. But what the scientists found was in the next generation of mice, the children didn't have to be shocked. They only had to have the scent of almond and they would freak out. And the grandchildren only had to have the scent of almond and they would be terrified as well. So from that, they did the studies and found that it is carried in our DNA, those past emotions. And so when we talk about an inherited emotion, it's most likely something, say your grandmother had a horrendous experience. Maybe she had a death in the family or they had typhoid or something big happened. And she trapped those emotions and they formed into and were passed along down to you. Likewise, you can pass them along to your children. And so you might hear about inherited emotions as one of the things that we would clear in our session. Another thing we would clear in our session, a belief. Jen, you want to talk about a belief? JC, get ready. We're going to tap into you next.
So a belief, a limiting belief or a false belief is something that you had in your life created this statement or a belief about, like, and usually most of these are created in our childhood when we don't have reason and we don't have all of the information or the brain of an adult where we can kind of like reason out. So it could be something just as simple as like, you know, I couldn't have the second sucker when I was 4 years old, so mom must not love me. But in that child's brain, it'll create that. And then if they have continuing experiences, and they'll just reinforce that belief and that belief. And then all of a sudden you have this I'm unlovable belief. So this is how these things could get in us. But we can also pick them up from our environment in the sense of what our parents tell us or what our parents say, and we believe them.
Or what we see on television.
What we see on television, yeah.
A lot of beliefs from the media, yeah. And that stuff gets into your subconscious mind and your brain just seeks to make it true.
Yeah.
So,
so you'll act from those beliefs. They'll become your behavior.
You don't even really think about it. But once you identify them, you know they're there and you can choose and let them go. Then there's this drama, trauma, thought cycle. Anybody ever wake up at 3 a.m. with thoughts that just will not go away? And it's this cycle just goes round and round and round. That's a drama, trauma, thought cycle.
I call it the gerbil wheel.
Yeah, the gerbil wheel. Yeah. Do you want to talk about a personal broadcast message or a conflict to resolve?
Yeah, personal broadcast message. It's like, how do I say that? So my husband, when you say something and he doesn't, he can't hide his emotions very well. Like it's written all over his face, right? That's what it's like a broadcast message. It's something that it's an emotion that you can't hide. People are like, yeah, I know what your thoughts were because it says it right there. And yeah. And it could be well, Olympians in a good way, Olympians visualize their peak performance, or a lot of athletes. I would venture to say that most athletes, in fact, all those I've heard on ESPN that are talking, they talk about visualization before the event or the game. And it's actually a practice that's taught to a lot of business leaders. They teach that same thing. So that's a personal broadcast message, but often with a negative one, those are ones that we don't want to continue on, because they keep, like Beth was saying, they keep broadcasting in our brains. It's almost like that negative thought cycle that just won't stop. So
JC, what's interesting about those is they can be picked up from other people. I can remember Dr. Brad, because this is what blew my mind about this. He taught about how if a child has a broadcast message of just, I'm unlovable and I should not even be here, blah, blah, those horrible things, another child that is a dominating can pick up on that. And that sometimes he says the root of bullying is because a child has picked up on that message. The child's like, okay, I'm going to hurt you because you should be hurt, that type of thing. So it's an interesting, it can get really kind of big and dark. Yeah.
Okay, it's 8:00, you guys. So we're gonna have to pick up the pace if we're gonna have time to do this before we all fall asleep. Conflict resolve is just that, a conflict to resolve. And then with all of these things, these are releases, but we also can set and establish a new belief in the Coach and Clear session. Okay, so this is some of the ways that you could use in the session to release. You could use your mind's eye, imagination, and meditation. You could use prayer and connect to your creator. Remember I told you about how your body runs on electricity and you've got the field all around you? You could use that field. Some people do that to do releasing. You could also affect your brain through the power of scent. Aroma Freedom Technique capitalizes on that, the power of scent and the releasing. Or you could use tapping, and that's something that we can work with in the session. Tapping is a way to make contact with your meridian endpoints that will relax your amygdala and help your body to work better and release. Sorry to have to go so fast, but I really want to have time. So how does it work? So we did the coach, right? This is the create part. Oh, we did the clear part. Well, then this is the create. So coach, clear, and create. So when we finish the clearing portion of our time together, you're going to want to hold on to the feeling and the thoughts that have come to you and that you have felt. Did you feel like you should do something different while you were there, while you were in that space of clearing? Is there someone to contact, a habit to begin, a neglected task that you felt drawn to complete? You're going to want to bring a journal with you and write down your feelings. This is the create part. Okay, so everybody brings their journal. We take a few minutes. You write it down in your journal along with the experience that you've had. Then you're going to create a plan for where, when, and how you will act. The reason you're going to want to use where is because you already have most likely a how and a when in mind. But if you can use a where, you're actually going to visualize yourself doing the task. And when you do that, the possibility of you actually doing that task increases significantly. So just to review, it's coach, clear, create. We pray and we center at the beginning. Then we identify imbalances in the group and release them with ever chosen method you use. The group we've been doing most lately is most of us just release with prayer. We go into a kind of a long prayer, talking to Heavenly Father, and through the Spirit, make that connection and let Him speak to us as we're releasing. And then, of course, as we're creating our action plan going forward. So you create your plan to act based on what, where, when, and how. That's a proven method that really works. And then you lead the session, and during the week, you act on what you created and what you plan, and you come back the next week and you can return and report, and you can get ready to clear anything else that would be in your way of the next step, because you are the creator of your mind. We're all junior creators to the one who created all things. So, short testimonial. I got really sick back in 2012. I lost 30 pounds in 3 months, could not get out of bed, beyond sick. And when I was prayerful and I had my priesthood blessings, it was the hospital wasn't going to help me. But what I needed to do was I needed to call a specific friend, and I needed to call my mentor at the School of Natural Healing where I was studying. And I did that. I called my mentor, Dr. Christopher, at the School of Natural Healing. He gave me some things to work on, some things to take, gave me a bunch of herbs. But then the other thing was to call my friend. And she had given me a book several months earlier called The Emotion Code. And I was very busy, especially very busy not listening to everything that my body was telling me. And when I called her, I told her what was going on. I just blubbered. And the first thing she said was, well, did you read that book? And I hadn't. Every time she'd come, she'd ask me, did you read the book? And it was always somewhere different because I meant to read it. And at that period of time, it was holding up in a stack of books, a lamp behind the couch, because the lamp was quite tall enough. And so I got the book out. I started to read. But what was really cool was she and her daughter called me every day for over a month and cleared for me because I didn't know how to do it. And I got better. And at the end of that month, she said to me, you don't need me to do this. You could do this by yourself. And I'm like, oh, no. I could never do this by myself. This is magic. And she's like, no, really, what are you going to do? All you can do is lay in bed anyway. Just try. And so while I was recovering, I kept practicing, connecting with Heavenly Father, asking for help, and just kept practicing. And I learned how to do it. And then from there, I continued to recover. It took about a year to get all the way well. And after that, I started helping other people. And for about 5 years, I just helped everybody for free. And just everybody that I could help, I just worked with and honed that skill and honed that connection and learned. And that's where Coaching Clear comes from. Now we have the whole creator-based approach from back being so sick a little over 10 years ago, because it was the only way Heavenly Father could get me to stop and to listen and to read that book and to move forward. So I'm a living testimonial, y'all. This stuff really works. Simple method of life design. We've talked about that. It's available to you as a weekly check-in and a rebalance. Just come every week and check in with our peer group and go through the steps to coach, clear, create, and rebalance. And every week, you'll get a little closer to your goals. We meet weekly at 1:30 Central on Zoom, but we are considering alternate times and are open to suggestions for those of you who work during the day. So if you've got a time that works for you, shoot me an email or a text and let me know. Email is beth@cmhcoaching.com. Pretty easy. Just shoot me an email and say, hey, could we have a class at this day and time? And we'll look at that for you because we really want you to have this goodness. There's a free 30-day trial when you get started. You won't be billed for 30 days. Then it's currently $47 a month. And that was if you enrolled the night of. Now it's increased to $99. I'll give you a little grace period. If you watch this in the next few days and you want to see if you can get it at $99, again, send me an email or a text. Direct message works too. Check in, see if we formally changed the price yet. You might be able to get in under the wire. There's this magic QR code right here on the screen. All you have to do is hold your phone up to it and you'll see the QR code in your viewer, but then you'll see a little link and you touch that link and it'll take you right to the page. If you don't have the option to do that on your screen, you can use this link and I'll just show you. If you click on this link, this is what you will see. This little page that says Coaching Clear and your opportunity to join. When you click on it, you'll see it's a free trial and you'll have it for a month. Put your information in, put your credit card in, and its subscription will renew once a month until you cancel it. Canceling's not hard. So if you have any problem, just check in with me. But I don't think you'll want to cancel. Once you start with Coach and Clear, you build these friendships and this balance, and you just really move along. So how do you want to know more about us? There's lots of different ways. At cmhcoaching.com, that's going to be the number one way you can come in and learn all about us. You could also listen to our podcast that's available almost everywhere. It's called A Creator-Based Life. Just search and subscribe and love and share. You could also join the 50/50 Girl Club. It's the gathering community for creator-based coaching. And so there's more about the 50/50 Girl Club. If you just look for us on Facebook, 50/50 Girl Club, you can request to join and I'll be right there for you. We have a Monday morning inspiration that goes out every single week. You can also subscribe to that at cmh.coaching.com. And of course, there's Coach and Clear. We have mastermind groups. If you have a specific project or a specific thing you want to work on, we gather these groups together of goal-oriented women, and we all coach and work together to accomplish those things that we really want to accomplish or change in our lives. And then we have kind of our flagship product, which is a creator-based year. A creator-based year starts once a year on January 1st, usually. And it's a select group. It's 20 to 25 women. You apply and we talk back and forth. We make sure you're a good fit. And then for the year, you work with the coaches. We have designed reading. We have a mastermind that goes with a creator-based year. And we study together all the principles of creator-based coaching. And at the end of the year, you leave changed. I mean, it's amazing, the changes and the support that's there. We also have U Week, which comes up every September, and you can learn all about us at U Week. It's a very inexpensive program. It runs a week. It's like 5 evenings in a row. All of the sessions are recorded. I think last year it was maybe $24. It's not very much. But going through U Week, you can learn again all about us and what's offered. And there's always a special offer at the end of U Week where one of these programs is dramatically discounted. So there's another thing. Get on our mailing list, and then you'll get information about all of these things. And again, you can do that at cmhcoaching.com. We hope you will join us in the creator-based way. Thank you so much for sitting through Coach and Clear and learning about Coach and Clear. We would love to have you join Coach and Clear and come be a part of that beautiful weekly rebalance and recreate your life in life design. Thanks, y'all. I hope you have a great week.
I used to run around, beat myself to the ground. I thought this was the way to be. I thought that true success was having so much stress till I heard a voice calling to me, saying, let it be easy, let it be easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice, let it be easy. Now that I see the light, I won't work all day and night. I vow to take good care of me. I don't need to run a race. Well, I choose an ease and grace, enjoying the ride effortlessly. Gonna let it be easy every day now, easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice, let it be easy. well, I get the job done. Easy when I'm having fun. Easy every day. Easy, it's the only way. It's the only way. Let it be easy. Oh, easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice. Let it be easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice. I'll let it be so easy. I'm gonna make a choice to trust my voice. Let it be. Gonna let it be easy.